Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Wire. I'm your guest host today. My name is Bryan McClain, sitting in for Patrick Henningsen. We're going to go straight to our guests, Basil, because they are in a very interesting environment here. I want to welcome Iara Modarelli and Tadhg Hickey to the program. Welcome, you guys. How are you?
Really good, man. Can I just congratulate you on the pronunciation of my name? That was top tier.
Well, I had a little bit of coaching there, so thank you for that. We're very pleased to have you with us today. So you guys are aboard the flotilla on the way to Gaza. We've titled today's show Breaking the Siege. And there's been a lot of, I've been tracking what's going on. There's been a lot of excitement, and is this the third attempt, or how many attempts have we had now?
Yeah, so we had a first drone attack in Sidi Bou Said port in Tunisia on our one of our main boats called Family. The day after, 24 hours later, our own boat was attacked, and Tadhg was actually on the boat during the attack. So we got drone strike then, and then we had a couple of crazy moments a couple of days ago where our communications were jammed first, and then we had seen around 15 drones hover above our boat, and shortly after we started hearing explosions. So we were all taking cover and just watching and waiting, desperate and kind of thinking, who's next. They were kind of just arbitrarily attacking one boat after another, and there was some structural damage to one or two boats, and thankfully no one got injured, but some chemical substance was also dropped on another boat of ours, and one of the crew members on board actually got their face burnt. So there was a lot of crazy stuff going on, and of course Israel is doing this to intimidate us, to try to get as many participants to leave the mission before our final leg. It didn't work. We're undeterred and we're sailing on. Tadhg, do you want to kind of mention what happened during the Iara drone strike?
Yeah, like the drone strike that was on our boat in particular was just kind of surreal, because we have been doing our drills and trying to do everything we can to prepare for the moment. But then when it actually happens, there's something kind of very surreal about it. And that night, and I think the night a few nights ago, where there was explosions in the sky, we were talking amongst ourselves, and it was this kind of uncanny feeling of having a small semblance of understanding of what Palestinians go through all the time, because it was like 3 hours of relentless attacks in the sky, and it was very clear that nobody was coming to help. And I think that's, personally, as a white Westerner, it's probably the first time that I've ever actually truly understood what it's like, even a semblance of what it's like to be in Gaza, like every night with that stuff going on overhead, and feeling like that the world, in terms of world leaders, just doesn't really care enough to intercede. So but to be honest with you, I think we're over the deterrence. Like it's the kind of lashing out of a bully, and you have to stand up to a bully. I think if anything, it's made people more resolved to what they're doing and more determined to reach our goal. We're very aware that we're a humanitarian mission. We're not doing anything illegal. We're non-violent. We want to set up a humanitarian corridor. So we have to take a helicopter view of the fact that this state is largely allowed to bomb a humanitarian mission carrying things like baby formula to a besieged population. I mean, how have we got here as a society that this is kind of normalized, and there's no real accountability for it?
Yeah, and one thing that happened around 24 hours after these attacks was that our various governments were actually called, and embassies were contacted by Israel to warn them that they would attack again, and the second attack would be much harsher than the first. And so, this to me seemed absolutely insane, that Israel is manufacturing consent to attack us by quoting that we're terrorists, by genuinely, they've been doing this for weeks, putting out bogus reports, fabricating information, completely false, and just trying to to manufacture consent to attack us, worse, kill us. So we're, still here undeterred. We're going to continue that. If we don't break the siege this time, we'll come back again and again until we do. And there's nothing Israel can do at this point to stop the wave of humanity that is sick and tired of watching this genocide unfold day in, day out. And like Tadhg was saying, Palestinians wake up to drones hovering above them every single day. They wake up to bombs every single day. So our focus with this mission is not to center ourselves as heroes of anything, but is to center Palestine, to bring the focus back to Palestine and to Gaza, and to remind people why we're here. So it's very important to us that when these kind of, I want to say almost minimal, and I'm not downplaying the seriousness of the attacks that occurred the other day, but when you compare that to what's happening in Gaza right now, it is still minimal. No one was injured. One or two boats had structural damage, and we're still perfectly fine. 50 plus boats are on their way to Gaza right now. Israel has clearly said what they plan to do with us. Of course, we won't know for certain whether you can't trust Israel's word, but they have said that their plans are to board our vessels, intercept us, kidnap us once again, commit another war crime in international waters, and detain us for God knows how long. But again, none of this compares to what Palestinians go through. So, yeah.
I think it speaks to the narcissism of Western society that commentators and critics are saying that the flotilla is all about publicity stunt for yourselves and, endlessly seeking to move the conversation away from the suffering of the people of Gaza. So I'm very glad to hear you recenter that, Iara, because it's just a projection by Western narcissists. They can't see beyond the possibility that somebody might actually be doing something for somebody else.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, that's a really nice. That's a nice way of putting it. Like, say, in the case of Greta Thunberg, we have been privileged enough to spend time with on this mission, and she's exactly opposed to the kind of Instagram culture or the fame thing that, say, the likes of Piers Morgan obviously has kind of made a career out of. So, as you say, I just think it's supremely ironic that somebody is kind of narcissistic and as much of a kind of a media cure, as we would say in Ireland, would be accusing Greta Thunberg, who actually just wants to make the horrendous situations in the world a little bit better and has kind of dedicated her whole life to it. Far from having any ego or being a selfie yacht merchant, she got on our boat and got straight stuck into cleaning toilets, insisted in sleeping where everyone else slept, and I just thought if she was this kind of narcissistic selfie yacht enthusiast, she definitely went about it a very, very strange way by insisting on cleaning toilets on day one.
And a point to add there that I think is important is that we should not have to be on this mission. This mission shouldn't even exist. There shouldn't be hundreds of people potentially risking their lives to open a humanitarian corridor on an illegal siege on Gaza. But we're here because our governments refuse to do anything about this ongoing genocide. They refuse. In fact, they are complicit. As to the response from our governments, I have a German passport. The German government released a statement after being contacted by the Israeli embassy, their lapdog, released a statement to the world saying that they would not, in fact, protect German citizens. And many other governments have done the same. They will not protect us, and they will not send a diplomatic representative to essentially get us out of prison once we're in Israel. So it's absolutely incredible that our governments, to this day, after 2 years of a live stream genocide, are refusing to even send a diplomatic representative to get their own citizens out of prison that were imprisoned on an illegal basis. I mean, there are just no words. all these Western complicit states are refusing to help their own citizens in favor of Israel, and that's how deep these ties go. That's how deep the funding is, and the financial benefit that they gain from supporting this genocide. And there just are no words. So we're here at sea, doing the work of our governments, and it really shouldn't have to even exist. This mission should not exist.
No, absolutely. Gustavo Petro, the Colombian president, said in New York last week, shortly before having his visa revoked, that the Hague group had got together and issued a declaration saying that military intervention is now needed to save the people of Gaza. And that's certainly technically the legal position according to the Geneva Convention. I mean, I don't think that's actually going to happen. I've just discovered today that the dreadful creature masquerading as the UK's Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, says the international community is on the brink of securing a peace deal for Gaza. Just today, Sunday. I mean, obviously, we've heard that many times before. And one can't help wondering whether or not your presence in the Eastern Mediterranean has indeed speeded up that process, because, one way or another, it's going to provide a huge, international flashpoint. If 50 boats are boarded and you're all whisked off to Israeli dungeons, the optics on that, at the very least, are going to be very, very bad for Western governments.
Sorry, we just went inside real quick, so we missed a little bit. It was getting very dark outside, but yeah, in terms of, Gustavo Petro, just to mention, shout out to him for being one of the only politicians, the only president that actually showed support for the Global Sumud Flotilla, aside from the Malaysian Prime Minister. It's unbelievable, it's inconceivable that we live in a time where we can't even get, and we are getting a lot of political support from members of parliament that are, that want to see an end to this genocide. But no other president has really called for our protection after sitting out, in cover for 5 hours, waiting to see if we were the next boat to be attacked by a stun grenade or an explosion, and 2 vessels being directly drone striked. The fact that we still don't have the global support. You can compare this to Palestine, to Gaza, that has much less political support, and we're very privileged to be in a situation when you compare that to Gaza. But what we're doing here is we are using our passports of privilege to essentially get the world's discourse moving and recentered around Gaza again, because unfortunately the world seems to have become rather desensitized to this genocide, almost accepting of it, like there's nothing we can do about this. Well, there is something we can do about it, and it's not just getting on a boat and trying to sail to Gaza. There are many things that people can do to talk, to share with friends, to protest, to occupy Israeli embassies if that's what it takes. But I think that at this point of the genocide, we just cannot look away. Anyone who looks away at this stage is completely complicit in what is happening. Do you want to mention a few things about?
I suppose I just want to add on a positive note that something is shifting, obviously. Like you guys know, the strikes going on in Genoa, particularly, I just felt bad that Ireland wasn't the first country in Europe to lead that level of disruption and ungovernability. I'm so glad the Italians have done it, and I just think for people watching, there's a moment now, the Global Sumud Flotilla is just a small part of the moment where it feels like something is happening globally. People aren't buying the Zionist lies anymore. People are questioning any kind of US empire narrative about how the world works and how it's the world's policeman. I think there's a real revolutionary moment that we're living through right now, and it's tragic that it's taken this much bloodletting, but I feel like a lot of cats can't go back in bags. I think we've got to a moment where there's changes coming, and I just urge people be part of it. I mean, I'm acutely aware that there's a lot of eyes on the Global Sumud Flotilla right now because there's a lot of Westerners on the boats. But the real story, just to go back to it again, is that as Israel's won, as is Israel's won, they've actually scaled up the war crimes that are going on in Gaza right now. I mean, this is what they do when you're looking the other direction. They scale up their atrocities, so we can't take our focus off Gaza. And I just think that the moment that we have the world's attention, we have to try and push for not just, these kind of cursory acknowledgements of the state from, say, Britain and Australia, where we wonder where the state is. How can you acknowledge a state on the one hand and still provide weapons to the other so-called state that's trying to annihilate it? It just makes no sense. It's an insult to our intelligence, and obviously it's an insult to Palestinians, a deep and regrettable one. But yeah, I'm positive that there is a moment right now that we will just be, this Global Sumud Flotilla will be a tiny part in a really seismic change in history.
And just to mention as well that there is another initiative which set sail yesterday called the 1,000 Mad Leans, together with the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. And they launched another 10 boats from Catania. They're on their way to Gaza in a second wave. And I really hope that this is a historic mission. It's never been done before. But, it only took one mission to start for more to then join and say, actually, this is possible. Actually, we can do this. Actually, we can just buy boats and sail to Gaza in mass. And that's what's happening right now. I'm so pleased to know that there's a second wave right behind us that's also going to attempt to break the siege. And maybe we don't make it through the first time. Maybe we don't make it through the second or third time. But eventually we will break the siege. And eventually we will create a humanitarian corridor. And we know right now that we're kind of in uncharted territory because we have no idea what they will do to us. We know that they're not very happy about the amount of military they need to send to intercept 50 plus boats. We know that they're not very happy about that. So they might scale up their aggression towards us. But I think everyone here that signed up for this mission is acutely aware that their lives are not more important than Palestinian lives, and that's why we're on this mission right now. And that's what it should be, because a Westerner's life is not more important than a Palestinian's life. So that's what we're trying to show the world. We doubt that we're going to get killed because they can't just come and kill a bunch of activists, but of course we don't know what they will do. But in the plans that they announced, it looks like we'll be detained. We have a lot of support globally and a great team behind us that will call for our safe return home. And last thing I'm going to say again is that there's no reason why we should have to do this, but here we are, and it's an honor for us to be here. I know for myself it's an absolute honor to be on this mission. There's nowhere I would rather be. I feel very calm. I feel very I don't fear Israel at all. And to echo what Greta said in one of her interviews the other day, I fear a world that lacks empathy and that lacks humanity much more than I fear Israel. And I think I can speak for more than just myself when I say that. There is no fear whatsoever on this boat, because when you're on the right side of history, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Right. Well, it's like you said, you guys shouldn't have to be doing this. All these people involved should not have to be doing this. And it's horrific to sit here and talk about governments and media and NGOs and all these nasty pieces of machinery trying to manufacture consent for stopping you guys. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys taking the time and bandwidth to join us here on the Sunday Wire today. And my gosh, I just don't see how such a eclectic, driven group of international citizens here can be treated this way by Israel. And Tadhg, you're right that there are more eyeballs on this right now than there ever have been. There is a, forgive the nautical metaphor here, but there's been a massive sea change in public opinion lately. So this is the time. I think you guys are in the right place at the right time. And my goodness, I know that all of us here at Alternate Current Radio and 21st Century Wire are behind you. And if you need to get a hold of us and get on air at any point, speak to Basil or myself or Patrick, and we will flex to make it happen. Because I know this is going to be a very interesting couple of days.
I just want to make one quick point about the situation with Italy in particular, and the fact there are around 40 Italian nationals on the flotilla. I'm not sure if you're aware that just today, the Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani has repeated the proposal made last week for the flotilla to take the aid to Cyprus for eventual redistribution in Gaza by the Roman Catholic Church, of all things, as if the Israelis are going to suddenly allow them unfettered access to Gaza. Meloni has been forced to send 2 ships. I don't know if you've seen them yet. 2 frigates, I believe.
We have. We've seen the ships around us. We're doubtful as to how helpful they'll actually be. They've said that they will kind of escort us to I don't know how many nautical miles off the coast of Gaza. They won't come all the way. And of course, this is kind of just superficial support that we see. I doubt that they'll, it's a stunt more than anything.
Stunt, and I think the messages we have from people from Gaza at the moment, how would we explain to them, instead of pursuing going to Gaza, we went to Cyprus?
Right.
There's no sense to me that there's people in Gaza who are like counting on us to come. Some have articulated that they feel it's their last hope. So for us to go to Cyprus, I think would be selling out the promise that we've made to our many Palestinian friends at this point.
Well, also there's a huge NATO base that is operating and sending these drones to collect intel on us on a daily basis. It's getting dark out here, and once it gets dark, we're on night watch, kind of looking out for drones. We've become very good at identifying types of drones over the past few weeks here at sea. But yeah, we obviously don't believe that any government really is going to do what they need to do to protect its citizens. I think aside from Spain, who has sent a Navy ship, which I don't think is to the same extent a stunt as the Italian.
I think the Spanish take a slightly firmer line, don't they? They're a little bit more...
Right, and I think Spain has done a lot for Palestine, and I mean, not just superficial. They have cut all relations with Israel now officially. So, the next step would be to remove the Israeli embassy. But in the meantime, we're just, there's a lot of unknowns on this mission. Of course, there is. It's never been done before. But we are kind of just we kind of just rely on ourselves right now, and the Global Sumud Flotilla team and our group of lawyers
and you guys,
the media.
It's not easy to get media, as you can imagine. So every bit of amplification is gold dust at the moment. So we really appreciate you helping us.
Absolutely.
One last question. You're due to arrive off the coast of Gaza on Tuesday or Wednesday. What's the most likely scenario that you've been preparing for?
Well, we've been doing a lot of drills over here, kind of preparing for any kind of scenario, but the most likely scenario that we believe will happen, and also that Israel has stated, is an interception. So, during an interception, of course, we are a non-violent, peaceful humanitarian mission. And so if they do anything to us, that will be seen, that will be live streamed on camera, and they will once again expose themselves committing yet another war crime. So, one after the other. So either way, I think that this mission was a victory, whether we break the siege or not. And I'm echoing a lot of Palestinians who've said the same thing, because the mission brought the world's eyes back onto Gaza and re-centered what is happening in Gaza, whether we break the siege or not. We, of course, have that hope that we will break the siege, but we also know the Israeli entity, the Zionist entity, and how they operate. And so they have announced their plans, and those are the plans: interception, detention, putting us in some sort of floating prison, by their own words, detaining us if we resist, whatever that means. And so, you know, we're prepared, but we are of course very aware that if we give them any kind of response or any kind of sudden movement or so, they will use that as a reason to attack and potentially kill us, like they did on the Mavi Marmara in 2010, where they killed 10 plus Turkish activists, so humanitarians. So we're well trained. We've done a bunch of trainings. We continue doing them on a daily basis to really build in that muscle memory, so that when the moment comes, we are completely calm, completely peaceful. And if they then do something to us, the world will see, and the world will bear witness, and they will once again have committed another war crime in international waters.
I would find it very difficult to not at least call them some unpleasant names if they were to board the ship, but that's just me.
And I think a lot of people might also be wondering, in that eventuality, if that were to happen, what becomes of all of the humanitarian aid materials that are aboard the ships? I mean, that's the whole point, right? Like, what happens to all the water and the baby formula and everything that is so necessary?
Well, we know what happens to it, what always happens to it. They steal it. They're thugs. They're going to steal the aid. They're also going to steal the vessels. Couple of reports went around saying that they would board the large vessels and sink the smaller vessels. So either they sink the aid together with the vessel, or they just steal them and tow them back to Ashdod port and never to be seen again. You know, this aid will of course not go to Palestine. It never does, and it never will, because that's not their intention. So they're playing a little PR game with us by saying that we should bring the aid to Ashkelon. Absolutely hilarious to get that kind of suggestion, because aid has gotten in through Israel before, right? I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous to even think that we would correct course and okay, let's just bring the aid to Israel. Let's go. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious even. It's really just hilarious.
Yeah, Frank Romano had told us that they said that to you, and it's just like, what? Like, well, why would they do that? I mean, they're going to do your job for you guys. You know, they're going to do your
Right.
doing and just deliver that stuff. Okay, I don't think so. That's not the way it's going to work.
And also, Tadhg made a really funny video the other day. I mean, it was pretty hilarious to see the Israeli Foreign Ministry posting a tweet where they claimed that they would do everything in their power to protect the participants of the flotilla, and a day later they bombed us. I mean,
They must have forgot.
I mean, okay, you know, let's just take them for their word. That's why, you know, the plans that they have disclosed that they have with us, we're prepared for those, but we're also prepared for worse, because there's just, you can't trust a word that comes out of the Zionist entity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. Anything else you wanna say to the audience before we let you go? I don't want to use up too much of your bandwidth.
Keep your focus on Gaza.
Keep your focus on Gaza, and if you're following the flotilla, there's lots of smaller boats as well. We're on a boat called the Mateke now, and there's lots of smaller boats that need media coverage as well. So if you go on the Global Sumud Flotilla page and you go to the tracker, you can track all the boats. So some of the smaller boats don't have as many like big personalities or diplomatic support or whatever. So all boats are equal.
All right.
Yeah, well said, Tadhg.
Yeah.
Thank you so
very
much.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure.
Thank you so much, you guys. Be safe out there and keep us in the loop.
You know.
All right. We'll see you soon. There they go. Wow, that was an amazing update, Basil. You know, I think back to some of our older broadcasts when we were audio only, and we would, you know, bring people in from, I don't know, Aleppo or, you know, bandwidth-starved places in Syria, and it was always so difficult to get a good connection. So it's really fantastic to be able to have a good video and audio connection
from the Eastern Mediterranean, you know.
Yeah. That's really, really cool that we were able to connect with them. Here we go. This is Dr. Frank Romano from aboard the flotilla.
Yes, I'm on the Spectre this morning, and last night 5 boats of the Global Sumud Flotilla were attacked. You can see they were attacked by drones. The first attack on our boat, the Spectre, took place near the kitchen late last night, right there. And a large explosion took place first. Then we heard large crashes on our upper deck that turned out to be balls of gas. It was determined by an expert that the gas was hydrogen sulfide that was dropped on our deck last night. The upper deck up there, we'll maybe be able to go up there. Sulfuric acid can cause itching, stinging in the skin and the eyes of nose. Low doses can cause like coughing, dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. But high doses of this gas that was dropped on our boat, the Spectre, last night. Again, we're part of the Global Sumud Flotilla. High doses of this gas can cause respiratory distress, fluid on the lungs, loss of consciousness, and cardiac arrest. It could actually kill a person. So this is very dangerous. And fortunately, members of the crew were able to wrap them up in blankets and throw them off the boat. There were several of those hard gas bombs sent to us during the night, and so we mobilized inside, put on our life preservers and our gas masks. And we're doing fine today. See, people are still asleep. It's almost 11 in the morning. We're trying to overcome lack of sleep last night, but we're doing well. And you can see we are with the other boats of the flotilla. Over 51 boats headed to Gaza together. We should arrive in 6 or 7 days. See that they're all out there. They're all together. Great sight. And the boat following us, yelling at us for some reason. You can see our dinghy is in back anyway. Thank you for viewing this. We'll have updates later, but we're we're up in our morale, upbeat, so to speak, and we're doing very well. We're not letting this sort of psychological warfare get us down. We're not letting it stop us. And finally, the Israeli government offered that we could go to Ashkelon, an Israeli port, with our humanitarian aid if we were, according to them, a peaceful organization, and drop off the humanitarian aid that the Israeli government will distribute to the Gazan Palestinians. But we don't trust that they will do that. Gaza is subject to a genocide. We don't see any motivation for Israel to stop this genocide and to distribute the tons of food, water, and medicine that we're carrying with us. So we're proceeding. We are ignoring this offer. And also, I must admit that the Israeli government is contradicting itself. It says once we arrive in the Gazan waters, we are breaking a legal blockade. In other words, they will stop us. And yet they say, we won't stop you if you go to this Israeli port and deliver humanitarian aid. So it's clearly contradictory. We do not trust what the Israeli government says. We will proceed to Gaza with the 51 boats and the humanitarian aid. Thank you.
All right, and we got one more ruckus from Dr. Frank Romano here.
Hello, here we are. Getting ready. We're putting all the boats together to start the last leg of our journey to Gaza. Here we are outside of Crete Islands. You see all the boats. And we are towing a boat. It's like an old fishing vessel that perhaps the motor's not working. Anyway, we are waiting for the final decision to group together the boats from Barcelona, Tunisia, Italy, and Greece, and finally head on our last leg to Gaza. It should take about 5 to 6 days, God willing. You see all the boats there in the cove over there. And we are very, very upbeat. We want to send a message to the Gazan people, to the Gazan Palestinians. We're on our way. You have not been forgotten. We're going to open up the People's Corridor. Then we're going to break the siege, inspiring other activists to follow us. So in other words, we're not giving up on this. We'll have massive number of boats by sea, and then hopefully a massive number of people continuing the March to Gaza movement in coordination eventually until Israel has to withdraw from Gaza with its aider and abettor United States, war criminals, and from the West Bank, and we can help Palestine to free itself. And as I've said a million times before, Palestine has led the way to the world to show we can resist this military-industrial complex. We can resist this money powers that control the entire world today, to either directly or with respect, or indirectly with respect to Russia and China. Anytime any country that doesn't agree with the United States or Israel does something different, they're subject to sanctions. But we are saying we're going to free ourselves from the claws of this military-industrial complex, money interests that control us, this oligarchy, this stifling, vicious, evil oligarchy that controls us, including that's really pushing to exterminate the Gazan Palestinians. We will free ourselves from that, God willing.
Ceasefire now. this say about who we are? 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? Digital images and digital lies cut out their heart along with their supply. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans in silence that cries. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Without equality, there will always be war. We have all the history to see how it's happened before. Travel as equals, equality for all, or else mankind will surely fall. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are?